Hello, my name is Taylor Ruth. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and I'm excited to be sharing with you today some of the research that Ricky Telg, Lisa Lundy, and I have been working on over the past year related to mentorship for agricultural communications faculty. One of the main reasons we were interested in doing this research in the first place is we are seeing agricultural communications programs continue to grow across the US, and we're expected to see more and more programs pop up in the next decade. But what this means is oftentimes there's only one or two agricultural communications faculty in a department. And we know that mentorship is important to the success of not only the individual faculty, but to programs as a whole. So it's important for us to understand what is currently happening with mentorship for agricultural communications faculty here in the US to help develop those strong programs. There are some best practices for mentoring. There's a lot of research out there related to it, but these are the ones that we wanted to look at specifically for this study. So how are mentors and mentees paired with one another? Was it an informal relationship or was it a formalized relationship? Was there institutional support for the mentoring? Were mentors meeting on a regular basis and having structured meetings? And were they covering topics of importance needed by that mentee to be successful? So the purpose of this research was to evaluate the current state of mentorship for agricultural communications faculty across the United States of America, really guided by those best practices that I just outlined, as well as looking at what barriers might be hindering the success of these mentor and mentee relationships. So we sent an online survey to a census of Society of Agricultural Communications Scholars, which has faculty from tenure track and non-tenure track lines, as well as emeriti faculty too. We had 42 faculty complete that online survey, and the majority of them were either assistant professors, associate professors, or professors. Additionally, the majority of them were female, and they came from agricultural education, leadership, and a communication department. The minority of them were in strategic communication departments, mass communication departments, or science communication departments. Some of the key findings from this research included that formal mentorship was really just focused on assistant professors, and after faculty received tenure, that formal mentoring really disappeared, but informal mentoring was seen across all faculty ranks. It was also common to have non-agricultural communications faculty as mentors within their department, and we didn't see quite as often having agricultural communications faculty internally within the department. Additionally, a majority of the departments were encouraging faculty mentorship, but it was not necessarily required. During the meetings, mentees were saying that they most often discussed teaching, research, or procedural questions, but they did believe that navigating promotion tenure, work-life balance, and research were actually the most important topics for them to be discussing. Additionally, mentors and mentees were only meeting on an as-needed basis, and probably not surprising to anybody watching this, time was the biggest barrier to effective mentoring and mentee relationships. So what we've seen from this research was that formalizing mentorship really will be critical to the success of the discipline, because formal mentorship shouldn't be reserved to just assistant professors. Additionally, this limited internal mentoring from agricultural communications faculty, not very surprising given we're seeing these new programs emerge across the country, but this could be an issue in the future if faculty can't find agricultural communications faculty to mentor them. Additionally, a lack of structured meeting times could limit the potential of the relationships if they are only meeting during stressful times where the mentee needs immediate help. Also, topics discussed in meetings, it might be what's easily accessible, like talking about teaching, instead of what the mentee actually needs to discuss, which might be more complicated, like promotion and tenure. So our recommendations from this study is to develop a formal mentoring program or network for agricultural communications faculty. Additionally, mentors should schedule regular meetings with their mentees and develop a plan to focus on topics that mentee needs to focus on to grow themselves professionally. And administrators should develop clear expectations for mentorship at their departments to meet these best practices for mentoring. In-depth interviews can help provide valuable information to us in the future to help strengthen these formal mentoring programs, and this study should be replicated with Ag Ed, Extension, and Leadership faculty as well. If you're interested to learn more about this, I hope you can check out our manuscript. I posted our emails here as well if you'd like to reach out with any questions. Thank you.